Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharifat and I make videos from Nova Scotia in Canada. So on my channel I talk about life in Canada, my experiences as a Nigerian immigrant living in Nova Scotia, and also I talk about immigration to Canada. So I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. So I run a company called Winty. We help people come to Canada, study or live. And anything you like to do in Canada, really. So today I'm talking about immigration to Canada, and it's quite broad. So immigration here is very broad. There are various pathways, there are various things you need to be abreast of, there are things you have to consider, there are things you have to know. So it's very broad. So today I'll be talking about the selection factors for skilled worker program. So in Canada, there are various programs. There are some for non-skilled workers, but for this one I'm talking about is mainly for skilled workers, immigrants, like foreign nationals from other countries. They are looking to come to Canada as a skilled worker. So the system used by the Canadian government is called the Express Entry for the permanent residents, the online program where they have various pathways. So the particular one I'm talking about today is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. And for this program, they use a number of selection factors to be able to decide if you're eligible to immigrate as a skilled worker or not. So today I'm talking about those selection factors in details or in summary, really, just for you to understand how these things work. So it's a 100 points grid system where each factor has the maximum amount you're able to get. So there are some points allotted to each of these factors, and you have to meet them, and then the minimum you have to get is 67 out of this 100. So if you get below that, it means you're not eligible. So the minimum that is required is 67 points, right? So let's get into it. So the one I would like to start with is the age. So age. So before I even start, let me give you like a backdrop as to why Canada is looking for immigrants. People always say, oh, Canada say they're looking for migrants. Why are they stringent with their like eligibility factors? Why are they not issuing invite to people if indeed they're looking for people to come to their country, right? And I would like to say that, so even though Canada is looking for people to come here, they're looking for the best of the best. The reason why they're looking for people to come here is for those people to come here and add value to the economy, add value to the country. So for age, they think that the younger you are, the better for them. The longer you are in the workforce. And one of the reasons why Canada is looking for people to come here is because they have an aging population. So they have seniors, people who are older, who have left the workforce or who are going to leave the workforce very soon. And I think that they are not also producing, like the younger ones are not probably giving birth enough to mitigate against the aging population. So people are aging, but people like more kids or more children are not coming to fill that gap. So they have this population gap, so to speak. Canada is the second largest country in the world, right? But it has like one of the smallest populations considering the size of the country. If you to compare that with the number of people, it's like very wide apart. So they're looking for young people to fill this gap. So they believe that the younger you are, the better for them rather. So the younger you are, the more points you get in this grid system. So that's for age. Then secondly is education. They feel that the more knowledgeable you are, the more educated you are, the better for them. So if you have a PhD, master's, they feel that you'll be able to contribute more to the economy or to the society. Even though this is not always true in all cases. We have people with just diploma who would even contribute much more to than a master's holder. But I mean, that's how they judge your education level. The more you have, the better for them. That's two. Then secondly is work experience. It's also known, they feel like the more work experience you have, the better for them. So if you're say for example a lawyer, the more experience you have in law, the better you're able to contribute to the economy. Then 4 would be whether you have a job offer here. That's not mandatory anyway, but if you have a job offer here, it makes it quicker for you to settle in into the country. So you might not need to have to start starting afresh, looking for a job, using the resources, government resources to search for a job and all of those. So if you have a job offer here, it reduces the stress or the effort you put in looking for a job. The other one is language. So in Canada, it's a bilingual country. We speak both French and English. So compulsorily you must be able to speak either of these languages. So that's one of the factors that's required. And it's not just by saying, oh, I speak English or I speak French. No, there are things you have to show to prove that you can speak any of these languages. There's a test you have to do for either English or French. So if you even know both, they're better for you. And there are minimum benchmarks to each of these things, the test components that you have to get before you are eligible. The other one is adaptability. They want to know how well you're able to settle in. One is if you have like a relative, sibling or something here, those are ways they feel that you are able to adapt quickly to the country. So all these factors are what are considered. They are called the selection factors that have to be in place before you are eligible to immigrate through the Federal Work Skilled Worker Program. Okay, and next I'll try and put more light or throw more light on each of these factors as we go on. So for age, the maximum points is 12 points. So 12 out of the 100 points. So if you're 18, you get the maximum point. So between 8 and 35, you get 12 points. If you're below 18, you get 0. So between 18 and 35 is 12 points. And as you grow older, the points decreases up until 46. 46 is 1 point. So 47 and older is 0 points. That's for age. And the next point is education. So if you have a BSc, Master's, PhD, the points you get for any of those differ, but the maximum you get is 25. Just to also add, so it's not enough to say, oh, I have a degree in so, or I have a master's in this program. You have to show proof for that. So if you schooled in Canada, you show your proof. But if you schooled outside of Canada, you show what we call the ECA, Education Credential Assessment. So there are various agencies that assess your degree in your home country or wherever you did study at your program, and they see that indeed this your degree or master's or diploma is an equivalent of a Canadian one. So the reason why I'm doing this video on selection factors is because I've had people say, oh, I thought it was just the CRS score that matter and nothing else. And I'm always like, before you even get to the CRS score part, you'd have to be sure that you are eligible. Like you meet at least 7 points in the 100 points that's required as the minimum benchmark, right? So that's why I thought to do this video mainly on the selection factors. The next one I'll talk about now is the work experience. So for that one, the maximum point is 15 points. The more work experience you have, the better for you. However, the minimum required is 1 year. So if you have 11 months work experience, you're not eligible. So 1 year, you get 9 points. 2 or 3 years, you get 11 points. 4 or 5 years, you get 13 points. And the maximum points is if you have 6 years or more work experience. That's about that. Still on work experience, so it's not just about the number of years actually. So your work experience has to be in skill type 0, A or B if you're immigrating through the Federal Skilled Worker, and it has to be in the National Occupational Classifications. In Canada, it's called the NOC. So your work experience has to be in those NOCs, in those skill types, which is 0, A or B. Also, the work experience has to be either a full-time job that you did for at least 30 hours per week for 1 year. That's the minimum. Or an equivalent if it's part-time, so that will be 15 hours per week for 24 months. So instead of the 1 year, when it was full-time, it has to be 2 years if it was part-time. The next is language, so English or French. The maximum you get for that is 28 points. So if you have just one language ability, it's 24 points you get for that. You lose 4 points. But if you have ability for both languages, then you get the 28 points for that. And these 28 points are awarded according to how well you do in each component. So for English, for example, we have listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So each of those things, you get allotted marks accordingly to how well you do in the tests. So as regards job offer, which is also called arranged employment in Canada. The maximum point you get for that is 10 points, and there are ways to check to see if that job offer does qualify for that 10 points. And then there's the adaptability factor. They want to know how well you're able to settle into the country, and these examples the ways they use to judge is if you have a relative here, if you schooled here before, if you've worked here before. So those are ways they assess you on. And the last factor I'll talk about today is adaptability. So there are ways they judge to see that you'll be able to adapt well to the country. And that is for 10 points. So 10 points you get if you had at least 1 year work experience in Canada prior. So before you worked for 1 year in Canada. So that gives you 10 points because they think that, oh, you've worked here before, so you know the system. That's one. Then two, if you have a relative here, it could be your child, your parents, your grandparents, sibling as well. All that can give you points. So it's you get 5 points for those ones. Or your spouse has relative, you get 5 points for that. Or if you have schooled here before, you get 5 points. So all these things are what are used to determine that you're able to adapt well to the country. So you get points for those. So I hope that you understand all of these points. I mean, it's more intense. I would say not intense. I would say so. It's more. So it's more detailed than this. I've only summarized it, just for you to understand the factors that are used and how these scores or marks are allotted to each of the factor. So that's that. I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video. Most foreign nationals or immigrants are not able to meet those last 2 points I talked about. Those two factors, that's the job offer or the adaptability. So you lose 10 points each. That's 20 altogether. So you only have 80 points left to get at least 67 points from. That's why you have to do your best to get the best in your test scores for your language, also your work experience, and then education. So that's why you have to do your best to meet those other 4 factors that you are able to meet. And the good thing is those last 2 points are not mandatory to have before you are eligible. But those other 4 points, the work experience, the age, the education, and the language. So those 4 are things that you have to meet to be able to be eligible, right? So that's that about the 6 selection factors that I use for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. So I hope that you've learned a thing or two. And please don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like, oh, there's so much to learn, there's so much to do. Take it a step at a time. They say Rome was not built in a day. It's a life-changing event. It's a life-changing opportunity. So it takes a lot of work, of efforts, of resources, of even finances to get through this journey. So please take it a step at a time. Be easy on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. The journey is different for everybody. Some took them 6 months, some 1 year, some 2 years. Like me, it took us 2 years from start to finish. So please don't be hard on yourself. Take it easy on yourself. And if you need guidance, if you need help on the journey, please feel free to give us an email at info@greentulips.ca. We are able to assist you at Green Tulips. That's the work we do. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care and have a great day. So I also put my details in the box below.